Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third live chat with the Dream Theater World. This is our chat with John Petrucci, so welcome to John.
Hey, what's up, Kim? How you
Everything
doing?
is good here. How's things in New York, Long Island?
Things on Long Island are picking up, getting better for sure. We're slowly opening everything back up, although not everything is yet. And yeah, New York, as I'm sure the world knows, got hit very, very hard. Long Island was a big part of that. So yeah, it's we're all doing what we can to be safe and healthy, and basically staying at home and following all the precautions. And so far, so good in the Petrucci household. So that's good.
So, what have you been doing in the period that it has happened since quarantine started?
Right. Well, I got home from tour. Uh, I want to say February 25th or something like that. And I actually, originally before the whole pandemic hit, I had planned on working on my solo album because Dream Theater we had some touring coming up, but there were like chunks of free months in the year. So I was like, if I don't start it now, I'm never going to do this. And then everything hit and closed down, and everything got postponed. So I found myself with all this time on my hands. And yeah, basically, very shortly after I got home from that tour, I started working on my solo album, and 2 months straight, about 5 days a week, did that. Got it done in about 3 months. So yeah, so basically this whole time, that's what I've been doing.
That's cool. So you've been
Yeah,
recording in a studio nearby you?
studio nearby me. Yeah, secret, undisclosed location. Conveniently close to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I started. It's been cool, for me to. I don't know how you are, but it's difficult to get a lot done when you're at home.
Oh
And I
yeah.
know a lot of people. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been in that position, obviously because of the pandemic, globally. And some people are more used to it than others, working from home. But for me, I it was good because I like to get out and go to a studio, and so that was really fortunate that we have that set up to do. Yeah, because when you're just at home, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get
Yeah.
motivated, or
Yeah, you got the couch and the fridge nearby,
that's
and
right.
everything is like, oh shit, I don't want to work right now.
Right, right. It's all too easy to put it aside.
So
But yeah, so that was inspiring to have that space. And yeah, like I said, for about 3 months, got that all done. So it was something, as far as my solo album, the last one I did was 15 years ago, and it's just been really on the back burner to do another one. And I get asked constantly, and I started to feel really like unproductive, really bad about it. But it's just with Dream Theater keeping me so busy and being the focus of my career, it just was never something that I really had the time to do. I don't know, maybe that's a huge excuse, but obviously, obviously I had the time now, and so it was a really good use of that time.
and a lot of those songs are songs you've been playing throughout the years in G3 and your other areas when you held like solo concert, like at the Guitar
Well,
Universe thing.
yeah, well, you know what? Actually, there are 9 songs on the album, and 2 of them I had played live on G3 previously, and like you said, at my camp. One of them is a really old song from the early 90s when I was doing like guitar clinics. And actually, it's called Gemini, and there's a snippet of it on the Rock Discipline video I did back in '95. There's a little bit of me playing that. And so, you know, for anybody that knows of that song, it's kind of, it's sort of an interesting little throwback to that, because I never got a chance to really record it properly. There was one song I had written, I guess around the same time as Happy Song and Glassy Eyed Zombies, that I played on G3, but I never did anything with it. Honestly, I kind of forgot I had it. And it's called The Way Things Fall. And when I was looking through all my files and everything, I was like, oh, I forgot about this song. And I had a full demo of it. I was like, this is really cool. So I was able to record that for real. And then that leaves the remaining 5 songs, which are all brand new.
All brand new.
Yeah, they're all brand new. And I wrote those and recorded those along with the other 4, again, over about 2 months. And then, you know, got finished up the bass and drums. It's mixed at this point, and it's really exciting. So I could check it off my list. I finally did it.
I think at this point we should just play the trailer for those of people that haven't seen it yet. So
Sure.
I'll just add that into the stream, and then let's see. And of course, that last part that really hit the net with Storm.
Yeah, big surprise at the end there. Yeah. So Mike is playing drums on this, which is really awesome. Obviously, Dave LaRue, who Dave played on my first solo album, Spin Animation, and also I've toured with many times with G3. As in the past, Mike Portnoy, we toured together with G3 as well. In fact, from the very first G3s back in whenever that was, 2001 or so. But yeah, having Mike play drums on this is cool. It was a great experience. You know, he had sort of we've been talking a bunch, and he had sort of planted the seed in my ear. You know, he kind of said something like, "Well, yeah, I was telling him about it, and he was like, well, if you need somebody, I'm available." And it was always like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna take you up on that. And I had written all the songs, and we programmed drums, and I played bass, and our engineer Jimmy T played bass, and so we had these final sort of completed songs. And Mike came in, learned everything, of course, added his touches and taste, did a tremendous, spectacular job. It was a lot of fun to kind of reunite musically and do that together. It took about 6 days to do. Again, did a great job. Drums sound awesome. Dave recorded his stuff remotely, redid all the bass, and it's mixed by Andy Sneap, who it's my first time working with Andy, who did a tremendous job mixing it. He's actually currently in Judas Priest. Yeah, playing guitar. After Glenn couldn't do it anymore, and he is an unbelievable mixer with an incredible resume. But he did mix Firepower, the latest Judas Priest, and a whole bunch of other stuff, Kill Switch and Arch Enemy and Machine Head, and it goes on, except everything. He's an amazing mixer. So album sounds great. Mike did a killer job. Dave did a killer job, and like I said, I feel like I accomplished something finally.
Finally,
people could stop asking me, when are you going to stop asking me?
You've never accomplished anything before this.
Well, at least on this the solo album front. So now all I have to do is get it released, and then I'll feel good.
Will it be in a label, or will it be self-released like the previous one?
Well, first of all, you like my mug? This was from Father's Day. My daughter Sammy gave this to me. Actually, all my kids gave me awesome presents and just a great day, as did my wife. Had a great Father's Day, so that was fun. But yeah, I love this mug. So this is a self-release, but it has worldwide distribution. So
Uh,
yeah, so the first one, actually, my wife Raina actually started a label called Sound Mind Music, and we put it out on that. Actually, the if anybody knows it, the evening with me and Jordan that we did the live concert, it's like an acoustic kind of concert, was the
yeah,
first thing we released on that. Yeah. And then Suspended Animation, we did that way. We never got official distribution, never released it digitally, literally was out of our garage. She did the order fulfillment, we did it together, and then we hired somebody, and that was that. So we didn't want to do that again.
yeah.
So it is on my own label, Sound Mind Music, but it has worldwide distribution, so we don't have to worry about that.
But will the suspended animation be available on streaming anytime soon then? Because I know a lot of people have been asking for it to be available.
Yeah, and I'd like to make that request come true. So that news should be coming soon. That is something I'd like to do for sure. Because as you said, it's a lot of people have been asking, and it was never distributed. You know, it was only way you can get it is if you ordered from my website at the time. So yeah, there's probably, I mean, there's a lot of copies out there. There's probably a bunch of bootlegs at this time, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, on YouTube and everywhere you can hear it, but it's none of that is official. So yeah,
I actually picked it up when you went on G3 to last time, because you found a bunch in your garage, I guess.
Right, that's right. In fact, I had yeah, on the G3 tours, I sold them, and I also at my last two camps, I believe I sold them as well. Yeah, right. So yeah, it'd be good to get that out digitally and streaming, so people, if anybody wants to hear that, then they can get a chance to hear that.
Of course, the camp this year had to be postponed until next year because of the situation.
Yeah.
That's still a year away.
It is. It's crazy. You know, at the time when we were speaking about it, and we're communicating with the other instructors, it's an unbelievable collection of instructors, by the way. It's like ridiculous. And speaking to Danny Heaps, the organizer from Dreamcatcher that does these camps, it was a little, you know, we weren't really sure where this was going to go, and deciding to move the camp or postpone it, you know, should we do it, et cetera, et cetera. It was just so unclear as to what the future, you know, was going to bring when we were talking about this, which was probably early March. And we had many conversations about what to do. We finally made the decision, you know what? We don't know where this is going. It was getting worse and worse, especially in New York. And we decided to postpone it a full year later. And thankfully, all of the people who signed up were really cool about that. And the camp will go on. It's just a year later, but all the instructors agreed to do it. So that was great news as well. And so it's going to happen, just not this year, which I think definitely, knowing where we are now still, it was definitely the right decision.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
The entire world just took a year break. Looks like all the festivals this summer has been canceled. I don't think there's anything that's been happening at all.
Yeah.
And I think the earliest you can start doing proper shows here right now is October, November. And that's just based on what they know today, and it might change.
Right, and that might change. I'm actually wearing my in support my Beat the Street shirt. This is the company that supplies the tour buses for many bands.
I've seen that logo many times.
Many times, that's right. So so all those tour bus drivers and tour buses are sitting there doing nothing. So I'm supporting them today.
That actually brings me into a good one. Hi, John and Kim. Thanks for the 2018 treasure hunt. It was awesome. Well, that was the lead up we had to the Distance Over Time album reveal. So that was
really cool.
John, in your opinion, what are best ways we can support artists and their art in the current climate? Hope you are well.
Thank you. I am well. Hope you're well too. And obviously, no, this is a weird thing. Sometimes certain artists or bands or even parts of the world are experiencing something that prevents them from being able to do what they do. And we always sort of rally and support, whether there was a natural disaster somewhere or something maybe happened to a certain band. But this is weird because this is affecting everybody. It's literally every artist and band. Doesn't matter the size, if you're playing stadiums or clubs. So, obviously the way of showing support via attending concerts and all that is not happening. So how can you show support to artists? I mean, from what I gather, and I guess I'm proof of that, is that a lot of musicians are making a lot of music right now. So there's probably going to be a flood of new music coming out, a baby boom of music. So I would say, a good way to support artists would be to to purchase that music, however, whatever form it comes in. And that's at this point probably the main way that most musicians are going to make money. I mean, I think that I can see that a lot of people are doing some they're taking some alternate paths as well, with different online
I've seen a lot of Twitch
opportunities.
streaming and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
a lot of stuff like that. We're in discussions now, and this is something also that people could support if it becomes a reality. Nobody's really sure as to how long this sort of hold on touring will be. I know you mentioned in Europe, October, that might be wishful thinking, but and I know a lot of artists have been doing a lot for free over the internet and stuff, but that might change, and it might have to change for a lot of people. So that might be something that might be a reality where, the idea of a live streaming event on a soundstage or whatever might be what a lot of bands end up doing. So that's another way to support. But we'll see. It's really hard to tell.
I've seen a lot of bands do that already, like Leprous did one, and multiple bands have done. Devin Townsend did three concerts.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
solo. That was impressive.
Solo,
just him and a computer.
I know that takes a lot of guts. Yeah, he's so talented. That's amazing. Awesome.
So, let's see. There's a guy here who wants. Renan Sanchez says, "Hey, when JP will show him his guitar and amp collection?" So I guess somebody wants to see your personal guitar and amp
personal collection. Oh man. Well, I'm not in the location where that stuff is, but that would be fun to kind of
inspiration for later.
Yeah, that would be fun to do. I do have I guess it's interesting, as far as the amp collection. I have a kind of collection of rigs. So through the years, we've built different touring rigs, and they're all pretty much intact. So we have them in a room where it'd be nice to kind of go through them. And the guitars are funny. For me, I've never been like a guitar collector. And I really don't know a lot at all about vintage guitars and Les Pauls and all that stuff. I kind of all the guitars in my collection are from my signature agreements. So, especially for the past 20 years, it's been with Ernie Ball Music Man. And so they're those, prototypes and different ones from the years. I have quite an extensive line of that, and that's the majority of the guitars that I own are Ernie Ball Music Man. So it'd be fun to go through those. Absolutely.
So let's see. There's just a question about. It's quite a long question, actually. Not a long question, but a long answer, I guess.
Yeah.
how do you come up with a new tune? Do you work with lyrics, just an idea, or music first? So basically, it's a songwriting question. So how do
Sure.
you do the process of doing songwriting? What's your
Right.
way?
Okay. Well, hi, Maddie. I hope you and your family are well. Um, it's di- it's like Maddie, my tech, but he's Maddi. It's different. Well, let me, just speaking from the project that I just did, which is my solo album, which in this case is all instrumental music. So um, basically, what I do is throughout the course of months, years, whatever, I document and collect musical ideas. That they may come while I'm playing my guitar and I stumble across something and I'm like, wait, this is a cool riff, or I really like this melody. I really like this chord progression. I always record it, even if it's just, the iPhone, in this case, you use the voice memos and it's documented. You could label it and you can organize it. So I do that all the time. Sometimes the ideas hit when I don't have a guitar. If that happens, I sing the melody and again, I document it. So going into to record this record, I went through what I call, I guess, song seeds, and there'll be dozens of them, and they're labeled, and some of them, are really good. Some of them are okay. Some of them suck. And you kind of go through, and I'll organize as to which ones are valuable, which ones, actually have some sort of substance that I could use. And so a songwriting session might just start with that one little idea, that 30-second idea, and I'll refresh myself with the idea, remind myself, learn it, start to play, start to develop it, and then a lot of it all of a sudden becomes crafting. Like, okay, this is cool. Let me work this out a little bit better. In this case, I was in the studio with my engineer. Let's record this. I'm feeling this tempo. Let's set a session up and I'll start recording it. And then, maybe program some drums, play a little bass, sit back and think, all right, where does I want to go next? And sometimes I'll have the idea already within that song seed collection. Oh, what would be cool? There was this part that would be an awesome chorus to this. Let me listen to that again. Oh, it's in a different key. I'll transpose it. I'll put it here. And some of it just sort of spontaneously happens where I'm playing, it should go here now. And as I'm doing that, the song goes from being a very sort of distant, blurry image to really being in focus. Like, I can hear how this song is going to end. I know it would be an awesome solo section. You start to get really amped up and excited about it. Over here, after the solo, I'm going to do this little unison thing, and I'll come back to the chorus at the end. When that part at the beginning, it would be cool if that was at the end. This is all going through my mind, right? And I develop it and build it, and in about, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 4 days, I'll have it done. I'll have it completed. And in this case, with this solo album, I was actually tracking the real guitar parts as I was writing, because why waste time demoing?
Yeah, well, it's going to be the same guitar and the same amp anyway. So.
Exactly. And we had it all set up and it sounded awesome. And that's the process. And I did that, with 9 different songs. Like I said before, some of them, a couple of them I had already. The only difference between me doing that myself and then doing that in Dream Theater is that it's something we do together, but it's a very similar type of thing where it starts with a seed or a jam or something, and then we start to collectively, where should it go, and how should it end, and et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes, you have a very clear idea as to the type of song it's going to be, or you want it to be, and the key and the guitar and everything. And sometimes it just is more spontaneous. And then in the case of Dream Theater, lyrics are written afterwards. And just to further answer Maddie's question there. So I hope that explains.
Yeah. of course. When you do write lyrics,
Yeah.
do you consider the music that is underneath, or is that kind of detached from the process itself, and you would just want to like find cool concepts to
Right.
cover in the lyrics?
It's definitely not detached. It's totally connected. So one of the important things I find as a lyricist is that the lyric, the subject matter has to really connect emotionally to what's going on with the music. Otherwise, if you have a disconnect, it's just really weird. You know, the lyrics will hit you funny. Like, why in the world are they singing about this when the music is doing this? And it might not even be something it might be something you feel subconsciously, but and I think that happens really organically from me, where the subject matter ties into the mood and style of the music. I don't usually have trouble making that connection. It's part of the songwriting. It's like, this feels right, you know. So yeah, so to answer your question, it's very much connected to this style of the music. Yeah.
So there's a Facebook user, Oberstleutnant Rommel. Hi, John, proud owner of Majesty and JP2s here. Do you still manually double track your guitars or on records now, or do you use something like the TC Electronic Mimic pedal that you have got in the live gigs?
Right. That's a difficult name. I'm looking at it. What is the nationality?
It's probably German, and it's a military title, so I guess it's just a funny name.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's from like a TV show or something.
Okay. Maddie was easier for me to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely double track for real the parts. You know, in the studio, it's one thing. You're there, you want to get that. You know, for those of you that might not know, you know, to get that sort of big, wide rhythm guitar sound that you hear on most metal recordings, it's usually a guitar hard left and right playing the same thing. So that's called double tracking, and I do it for real. Now, live, obviously, there aren't two of me. So TC Electronic, yeah, they have, he mentioned it in his question, one of the coolest pedals ever. It's called a Mimic pedal with a Q, M-I-M-I-Q, that detects the transients of the pick attacks as you play and sort of spits out like a second guitar part that you can give the illusion of. It sounds like as close to a double tracked guitar as possible. They have an awesome video. If you go on their website and look at the Mimic and look at the video of a guy, awesome guitar player, I forget his name, but he's demoing the Mimic, and he could do like 1 double, 2 or 3, and he has this crazy rhythm technique, but it just sounds really, really good. So that's good for live for me, is the bottom line. But in the studio, yeah, I do double track for real, play each part twice. Yeah.
Thomas Bjerking Nielsen asked, is it just me, or do you prefer more modulation effects into your heavy riffs over the last years in difference to your distortion sounds in the 90s?
Right. Thanks, Thomas. Hope you guys are well. I use modulation effects as far as just, for example, a chorus on a riff, depending on what the song is doing or the part is doing. I would say in general, if it's a driving, you know, Dark Eternal Night kind of riff thing, I wouldn't use a modulation effect on it. But you know, if the song opens up where the guitar is doing these big chimey chords, usually on the choruses, so using a chorus is appropriate, I will put a modulation effect on and do that. And so it kind of gives the imaging perspective that the guitar is widening and opening up. And so I'll do that on recordings. Live, it's easy to get addicted to that, so I might be guilty of that. I might step on that button a little more than usual, just because it sounds so cool in the in-ear mix that we use, that environment, that big modulation stereo chorus thing sounds pretty wild. So I guess you got to be careful not to overuse it, but that's the general rule. Big, heavy riffs, powerful single note things like that. Keep it off. More open, chimey chords. Use modulations, effects, and on clean type of passages, I usually always use it. So it sounds really beautiful on that type of thing. But thank you. Good question.
Georgia Matraxia asks, "Hi John, as a guitarist, how's your daily practice routine?"
Hi Georgia. Thanks for the question. Hope you're doing well. It varies, you know, in what I was just describing with creating this new solo album. I was in the studio pretty much every day for about 3 months. So a bit of practice before the sessions and then writing and recording all day. So I'm playing guitar for, I mean, those sessions were, not that I'm playing guitar the whole time, but, you know, those are easily 10, 12-hour days. As Kim and I mentioned in the beginning of the call, being at home, sometimes it's hard to get motivated when you're home to pick up the guitar. So you know, you got to be careful of that because use it or lose it, you know. And I'll definitely go days sometimes without practicing and then get the itch and I have to get back to it. But I try to, you know, there are guitars all around our house in every room, and you know, it's very easy to pick up a guitar. So I always try to make sure I do that. And sometimes the practice routines are just that, where I'm going through exercises and scales and licks and things just to keep my facility up. And sometimes they're more creative. And sometimes they're more improvisational where I just want to play. So it varies, you know, depending on the day, depending on my mood. But, you know, music is great to have in our lives. So you always feel better when you practice. It makes you feel good. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like working out. You feel good. You feel like you accomplished something.
I don't get as much practice as I should like with my guitars, but
right.
I'm not a professional guitarist either, so that's
right.
Not
but when you do, you feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Hey, Kim, I found this before. It's not even. I didn't even open it yet. It's like this Live at Luna Park.
Right.
Black thing. Yeah, I found this in my. I really should hang it up, but it's cool. It's showing that it went gold.
Gold black.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of neat. So I figured I would stick it over here. That was fun to do. And that hey, where is it? Oh, it's this way. Yeah. Oh boy. Now I broke it. That release was actually it was fun at the time because it was the first time we did a movie theater showing.
Yeah, right.
Of the costume film. Yeah, so that was kind of fun to go, you know, to the movie theater locally where we always go and have it be playing. So yeah, bringing back memories there. Recorded that back in Argentina.
Things are changing with the current pandemic, how people are receiving music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even musicals have started propping up on like YouTube and
right. That's services.
True. So yeah. It's like a completely different world. Something good came out of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity going on for sure. For sure.
So since you show the Luna Park, I guess there's a question here. Just what is the status of the new DT Live album?
Can't wait. Cool. Well, thank you, Michael. It is currently being mixed and edited, and it's looking great, sounding great. And for those of you that don't know, we filmed 2 shows in London at the end of the latest tour that we did at the Apollo there, and it was a lot of fun. So the DVD is going to be that whole show. So both sets, including scenes from memory, and the shows went well. Audiences were great. Band played well. Like I said, shot really well. The same people who did Breaking the Fourth Wall, the Lemmer brothers, and they always do an amazing job. So yeah, I'm not sure the release date on that. And then as far as my solo album, that will be coming soon. I should have a release date for everybody really soon. If not by the end of this week, hopefully next week. And I might even end up getting it out sooner than anticipated. I'm going to see if I can do that. I've been saying the fall, but I'm going to see if I can get it out sooner. So that's something I might do as well. But yes, just stay tuned for that. The live DVD, I don't have a date on yet.
Yeah. Jeremy Ross asks, when building the sound for each song, what is your starting point? Amp tone, guitar tone, effects?
When building the song, it's my guitar plugged into the amp. That's it. No effects. If in this case on the new record, I used my Majesty for the whole record. You have one back there, Kim?
I have two.
Oh, you have two. Nice. Yeah. I see something behind you there.
That's a JP6.
Nice. Yeah. I used the new the 2020 Majesties on this record, and straight into my Boogie, my JP2C, which actually there's one right here. This is a limited one. Let's see. Where is it? Everything's backwards.
Yeah,
I have to go this way. Yeah. Anyway.
I also got one. You just don't see it. I have to change the camera like this, and now
there we go. Perfect. Yeah. This is actually all of Raina's gears. It's not even my gear. It's all of hers. Yeah. I'm pretending it's mine. But yeah, so to start the song, I plug the guitar straight in. If it's a lead, if the song is starting with kind of a melodic thing or a lead sort of phrase, I'll usually be on channel 3 on the amp, dial it in. And if it's more of a riff type of thing, I'm usually on channel 2. Again, dial it in. I have like some kind of go-to settings. It might change depending on the tuning, if I'm using a 7-string or drop tuning or something, but pretty much stays in the same ballpark, and that's where everything starts. So, oops, my ear keeps, my little thing doesn't want to stay in. Yeah, and any sort of effects usually come later, or I might have an idea like, oh, this part would sound really cool if I was playing it through a phaser, and then we'll plug in that phaser and dial it in. And then I always also simultaneously record a DI so that I could reamp everything if I decide I didn't like the guitar tone. We can reamp it and redo it, and I don't have to replay the part. The performance is already captured. Yeah. So that's kind of fun too. We did that a bunch of times on this record too.
Let's see. Simao Cruz asked, I remember you talking about distance over time and how the original idea for the name was velocity. Is the name terminal velocity an evolution of that original idea?
Yeah, that you picked up on that. The whole way that the velocity thing sort of came to be was we're in the studio recording guitars and for distance over time, and I thought it would be funny to create some sort of formula, mathematical formula for my guitar tone. We were just having fun in the studio. 8 ohm sine equals 4/12. Just like silly guitar stuff, and somehow we got to velocity being D over T. And it's like D over T, Dream Theater, we have to put that in. And the next day or something, Jimmy T mentioned, it would be a cool name for an album, Velocity. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but like for, I don't know how long, a week or something like that, the distance over time was called Velocity. Everybody agreed.
It was quite a while because I remember I got told the album title and then was asked by the label and Maddie if I could make like puzzles based on that, because that would
Oh,
be a
interesting.
great thing to
Oh,
have in the
okay.
treasure hunt.
Yeah.
And then I made up all these questions about it, and then the album cover got delayed, and I
Oh
had to make up
no.
more
Oh
questions.
my God.
So I had
Yeah.
to delay the treasure hunt as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made a whole bunch of questions based on just that.
Oh, that's so funny. That's awesome. Well, the velocity as I was sitting with it just didn't sound Dream Theater-y enough. And like when I went back to the original Distance Over Time, I was like, that sounds really good. That is a cool. Now that sounds like a Dream Theater title, and so that became the title. But the terminal velocity was sort of in that um, in that bag of names as well. But I totally forgot about it, and I was having a conversation with my son. I was talking about picking on the guitar and like how fast somebody can pick. Like if there's like an infinite amount of times, or does it get to a point where you can't go any further? Like if it was like a machine doing it, what would be and I couldn't think of the name. It was like, what would be like the and it's like terminal velocity, and it's like, yeah, it's like that'd be a cool name for the album. And so it stemmed from there. So yeah, so partly left over, I guess you could say, from the discussions, the guitar discussions about the formula for Distance Over Time, and then sort of forgotten about, and then brought up in further discussions with my son and talking to my wife and my kids about the record and titles and things like that. It just felt like the perfect name. Yeah.
That's good. It's kind of funny because you remember those comedy videos that had like this funny voice over you?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was talking about how many notes. It was like 4 billion notes per second or
Right.
something.
Yeah. Right.
So I guess
So
that's
funny.
your terminal velocity.
Yeah. Right. What we're talking about, like how many times is like thinking about picking, like equating it to like a hummingbird, like how many times per second? How many times per second do they flap their wings? And it was like some ridiculous stuff.
I
So, can
mean,
that be done?
there's people doing like speed runs, like picking as fast as they can, like doing the
Fly to the
typical.
Bumblebee.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
I know.
just insane how many
It's
notes they can do.
crazy. It is crazy. You can get
So
hurt doing that. Be careful.
I'm sure. So I'm just trying to see. Okay, so Sofiane Benidi from Algeria. Did you compose Terminal Velocity in order to play new songs in GT concert? It just as consequence of quarantine.
Hello, Sofiane. Let's say your name right. Hi to Algeria. Hope you're doing good. Um, I, you know, it definitely will help for me to have new songs on G3 because I keep keep playing the suspended animation. So yeah, that definitely is a little bit of inspiration. Um, I had planned on doing this regardless of the pandemic, as I told Kim before. I had the time put aside. I didn't realize I'd have as much time as I have now, but I did plan on this anyway. And so it wasn't a result of the pandemic. I was going to do it anyway, but yeah, it just gave me some more time to do it. And that will be a very good fringe benefit. New songs to play on G3 if, in fact, that does happen again. And of
Or
course,
the
if
Guitar
Joe
Universe jams and whatever.
Guitar Universe jams, if I want to do solo shows or anything, I have more material now. And of course, if Joe ever invites me back for a G3, I would always say yes because it's the most fun you could have as a guitar player.
I can't possibly pronounce this because it's in Hebrew, but you're one of my greatest influences as a guitarist. I would like to ask you, who were the guitarists that influenced you and your sound?
Well, thanks for the question. I hope you're well. I can't pronounce your name either. I can't read the characters, but so for me, I've talked about this a lot. One of my biggest guitar heroes was Steve Morse. When I heard him, it really changed the way I approached and thought about guitar, and it was so inspired by him and the music of the Dixie Dregs. Also, the bands that I was a big fan of back then not only inspired me as a guitar player, but I think helped with to influence the kind of sound that would be Rush, Alex Lifeson and Rush, and Steve Howe of Yes, just to name a couple. But it was like a slow build. Like when I first started playing, I was kind of listening to more of the stuff on the radio and trying to figure out like even how to play an AC/DC solo or some Jimmy Page stuff or whatever, and Sabbath and stuff like that. And then as I kind of got more into guitar playing, I just wanted to be challenged more, and I would listen to Ozzy and Randy Rhoads and try to play all that stuff. And then Yngwie came on the scene, and I was blown away by that. And you have Al Di Meola and Alan Holdsworth. And as I got more and more into guitar and more into the technique of it, I would listen to players that were more technical and be very influenced by them. At the same time, somebody like Stevie Ray Vaughan's a huge influence, even though it's a whole different type of style. And I think somehow that all influenced my playing, my sound. Metallica was a big influence on me as far as my sound. Yeah, so
that reminds me. There was a question I asked all the other guys. I guess I gotta ask you that as well. What was the first album you bought for your own money? Do you remember
the first
that?
album? I do. It was In Through the Outdoor, Led Zeppelin.
All right.
Yeah, I went to the mall and bought it. Walked out with it. I bought a record. Yeah. How about you? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I was a teenager. I don't remember how old I was, but what about you?
I guess the first album I bought for my own money was Guns N' Roses or Metallica, the Black Album.
Yeah.
Either one of those. It came out
Right.
almost the same time.
Nice. My cousin actually bought me the double Yes live album, Yes Songs. That was one of the first ones I got. But yeah, me walking into a store and buying one, it was Zeppelin.
I grew up in a household with a father who was very into music, and he had like Queen and Al Di Meola and Steve Morse and Dixie Dregs, Frank Zappa and Styx and all those bands.
That's great. That's really
vinyl
cool.
collection. And
that's so
from
cool.
when I was like 9-10 years old, I would go grab that. So like my first like band that I discovered from his collection was actually Styx.
Oh, nice.
So I heard a lot of that, and then he was actually the one that got me into Dream Theater because he bought your from the beginning.
Oh, that's awesome.
I only came into it later.
Right.
He brought me to the first Dream Theater concert as well back in '98, I think it was.
I love that. I hear that story a lot. I think that's awesome. Obviously he has great taste in music.
Well, he died a couple of years ago, but so I have a vinyl collection now. So
that's great. That's great to have. Good memory.
So I have all the. I just unpacked it last week actually because it's been just in storage and I finally bought some shelves for it. So got to put up like the Steve Morse albums and Dixie Dregs albums.
Nice.
Look at that.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
Let's see if I can find some. Well, okay. This is I know we've talked about this before, but let's just get an official answer out there. Jasper asks, do you guys ever plan on officially releasing the 2017 Budokan recording as a Blu-ray release?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. I'm just not, I don't have details on like when or how. Does he mean specifically Blu-ray or just DVD or whatever? Just
streaming,
official.
Whatever. Just
yeah. I think I mean, it's something that it has to happen because that concert was filmed so nicely and edited so well and fully mixed and everything for a broadcast, a single broadcast. to have it wasted, not wasted, to have it not, I shouldn't say that, to have it not be able to be enjoyed by people just, you know, after the fact, unless you just happen to be in Japan watching that broadcast at the time, it would be a shame. So yeah, we will. I don't have any details, but yeah.
I mean, that's a good follow-up question. Is a lot of people ask me personally if the official bootlegs will ever see a return.
Right. Yeah, they kind of fell to the wayside a bit. You know, we really, obviously after Mike left, really have not done anything with that. That was something that he was very much into, and we sort of didn't really pick back up on it. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not in the forefront, but you never know.
I mean, currently in this world, it's not CD or physical release aren't like the norm anymore. But there could be like an app or something that has like but I guess that's something to think about in the future.
Yeah. Do you think that that CDs are, that most people don't really use CDs anymore?
I think seeing by the sales numbers, that is very true.
It is. I think it's weird too, because a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm an example, like have a CD drive even on their laptop or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Yeah, I was actually, you know, when thinking about the distribution of my solo album, it's like, you know, digital, yeah, for sure, and streaming, and you know, I think that fans would appreciate a special edition vinyl, stuff like that. Vinyl has made a huge comeback, but the discussion of should this come out on CD was sort of like, maybe not. You know, I'm not sure about that one.
Well, I mean,
jury's still out.
This CD format also has the problem with the you have to mix it to be loud, and I know we've had this discussion before. Like, things can be too loud on CDs, but you don't get that problem on vinyl.
Yeah, that is
streaming, because Apple Music has a very strict rule of how things are supposed to be mastered for like Apple Music and stuff.
Right, exactly.
So I guess that's one of the reasons why collectors at least don't buy CDs that much, because they're more interested in the like audio quality.
Exactly. And then, you know, then there's of course the whole sort of Cora type services that do the high res or high def versions. So that's cool too, because
but
fun to listen to music.
Convenience factors, I just use streaming when I'm at home. I barely use CD, even if I have a huge CD collection. It's like it's so much easier.
It's interesting.
Pick it up on
an interesting turn. Yep. So we'll see. Well, I don't know if this album will come out on CD. We'll have to see. Maybe.
Well, for a completionist like myself, I need it on CD because I'm just like this collector. I mean, I can't move the. It's my streaming computer is IMAX. I can't move it, but in my room right now, I have a collection that I think would rival Mike Portnoy's movie collection. It's just
awesome.
floor to ceiling.
Amazing.
Like 3,000-4,000 movies all over.
Wow. Amazing. That's really cool.
That's just a collection fanatic in me.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hi, John. Armin asks, "Hi, John. What's your source of inspiration for writing DT's lyrics? They are so deep and supernatural."
Hi, Armin. Hope you're well. Looks like his picture he's with John over there.
Yeah,
John.
Looks like
cool. Well, thanks. I mean, I think that the style of music that Dream Theater does sort of lends itself to more serious kind of topics and deeper topics. The whole genre of progressive music that I, really fell in love with and gravitated towards is perfect for, you mentioned supernatural or fictional topics or storytelling. It's just the perfect backdrop to that. So a lot of times I'm inspired by the music itself, as we talked about in the beginning, as well. That just the music will sort of evoke a certain emotion that might turn into a lyric. Sometimes lyrics are more personal, where they're based on an event that happened to me. Kim mentioned losing his dad, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, and I've written songs about that, about loss, and those come from a more emotional and real and personal standpoint. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's an amalgamation of like different things I saw or read or movies or thing, not specifically based on a movie, but based on a genre. The Astonishing was obviously something like that, where it's happening more in a dystopian sci-fi kind of setting in the storytelling. So it comes from all different in all different forms and ways. I know a lot of people who are lyricists are big readers, and it comes from that. Some people just really write from experience and their heart and wear it on their sleeves. I'm sort of a combination of fictional storytelling and real life experience. But thanks for the question.
I just got a message from Cosman, the Romanian fan club guy.
Oh, how you doing, Cosman?
He asked,
doing okay.
He asked, when are you going to do a left-handed Majesty guitar?
Oh man, I don't think that's the first time he asked that either. Yeah, but hi, Cosman. Hope you're doing well. And he actually came out to the London shows, which was really cool. He just came out. I think it was his first time in the UK. He said came out just for those shows and went back. But that question, as far as a left-handed Majesty, is asked a bunch by left-handed players. I know that it's a bit more of a challenge to build a left-handed Majesty because of the contours and the way that the guitar is made. So we've talked about it. Ernie Ball Music Man does offer a left-handed JP, but not the Majesty model specifically. So as of now, Cosman, I'm sorry, no plans, but I'll keep in our meetings that we have throughout the year. I will keep bringing it up, and maybe it's something that'll happen.
Yeah, I know a lot of left-handed players are like anxious to get instruments that fit their playing.
Sorry though. Sorry we don't have one.
So we're beginning to come up on an hour. So I just want
to see that. Yeah, we're already talking for an hour. So
I just want to tell people about, because a couple of months ago I reached out to Dunlop, because you came out with they came out with a new pack with your signature picks.
Yes,
so it looks like that.
Yes, that's right.
So it's basically a pack with all your different styles.
Yeah,
which is the triangle one, I guess.
Yeah, the Trinity. That's the Trinity pick. Yeah.
And of course the prime tone.
Yep, that one has the bevel.
And the big one.
Yep, that one
was with it.
That one, Distance Over Time, was all that pick.
Oh, really?
And I do play with it. I play with all those picks. My solo album was all Trinity pick. I have them sitting around everywhere, and I grab one, whatever is, whatever I'm in the mood for, and then I usually will gravitate towards that pick for a while, do a lot with that, and then I'll change, like, I'll rediscover the other one. So that signature series, there's 4. There's also the very first Dunlop signature pick that we did, and they're all in some way or another based on the Jazz 3, which was the one that got me started with Dunlop. but yeah, that sample pick pack is really cool. It's a great way to get an idea of what I was thinking, and they're all great picks. You can't go wrong with any of those.
So Dunlop was cool enough to send me a whole lot of them. So I got
Nice.
many of them. So I'll be posting a link to a little quiz I want people to participate in if they want to have a chance to win a couple of those packs.
That's a great idea. I love that.
So
that's awesome.
They should be looking for the link to the forms quiz in the chat now.
Very cool. Well, I want to also just take the opportunity to thank you, Kim, for everything that you do. I don't know how many people in the Dream Theater community realize what you did and how you sort of approached us and bringing our whole community internationally together. There were different factions of fan clubs over the years, and some discontinued, some were still in some form or another, and you had this whole proposal of bringing it to one place, creating a website, and you've been really, really helpful with helping to promote the different releases we've had. You've been really involved with that, and so I just want fans to know how much you are responsible for doing this and really bringing the Dream Theater community together in a way that hasn't been done before. And then everybody else who's been leading these different factions still, that's out there in the different countries and in the US and all over. You know who you are. We meet all the time. Thank you guys as well. And fans tell me all the time about these special sort of meetings you have, pre-show things, and I can't wait to get back to all that, which we will eventually. But I wanted to thank all of you out there for doing that, and especially Kim. Thanks for doing this. So this is another example of just kind of bringing us together and having a little chat. But you're the one responsible for it, so we'll give you a virtual clap.
I work a lot in the shadows because I come up with proposals, like the treasure hunt thing. That was my proposal back in. It's just a way to try to create engagement in the fan communities, because you guys don't go out and do that yourself as much. So
right, exactly. We're kind of like I love it. Yeah, we're like old school kind of guys, playing music, and we don't have our finger on the pulse of this type of thing. So we look to you, and we're glad that we have you for doing that, and keep bringing it on. We love it. Dream Theater fans love it, and it's a great way to keep us all connected.
The first thing I did for the fan clubs was actually this thing.
All right.
Back in 2005. So that's the first thing I ever did for the fan clubs at large. Like, made the whole CD.
Amazing.
DVD, I guess.
Wow. So,
that's when I first met you, back in 2005.
Think about that. That's a long time ago. That's as long as it took me to get my solo album, my second solo album done. That's 15 years. That's exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, thank you. This was fun, though. It was nice talking, and I'm glad we were. Thanks for organizing this, and thanks everybody for your questions. And we'll keep you in the loop as far as what's going on in the world of Dream Theater as it develops. I'll have a release date for my solo album forthcoming, live DVD, Dream Theater DVD as well. And just everybody stay safe. Kim, Arthur, stay safe, stay well.
Yeah. Thanks to you for participating in this, and I hope it's not going to be a long time until we do it again. Maybe do a full band one in the future as well. I hope.
Sounds good.
So
absolutely.
Thanks everyone for submitting questions, and please submit your answer to the quiz that I posted, and you'll be in the drawing for a little surprise package of at least some picks and maybe some CDs and fan club DVDs and stuff like that. So thanks.
Very cool.
And goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.